My name's Umberto Trejo in San Pablito. That's the community I got my father, my mother, my sister to live that area. San Pablito are Otomi people. Otomi is one of the very important group in Mexico. Well, I think in Mexico we have about 56 languages around Mexico. The people, they live in a very traditional house. You know, they have to walk for 5 minutes to bring the water and for the spring water. But now everything, the people, they started to organize 20 years ago. So now we got the water inside the house. Yes, before my house, it was the wood. It was the wood and it was very small. And you know, it's about 4 meters by 4 meters. That's how I growing all my life. The house I have right now is a new. I built it. I know it's not really traditional. People indigenous, they want to change some time, you know, to because some people came to the city, you know, they come to Mexico City and they see the Mexico City how it looks the house, and I think they like it, you know, and when they return, they build it not exactly the same, but something similar. 2 schools we had, and one of the schools just speak Spanish, only Spanish. In another school, it's speak Otomi and Spanish. And now we have the development have both school, and I think it's a best way to do all Indian people in Mexico. Around Mexico, we have a problem with the discrimination because people who speak Spanish, they see the people in India, it's inferior. For example, in my group, Otomi, we are very proud with the languages because we don't see any difference. People who speak Spanish or people who speak Otomi. Different tourists came a different place in the world. Because we see people come to another country, and when we see that, so we get more energy to continue to keep the culture and to see many possibilities or to create something. So in that way, we are proud with the culture, with the traditional thing we have. We have a big forest, but we can't use all the trees. Just we take 7 trees, you know, all the forest. So it's not nothing. But also we plant, we recuperating because we have 1,000 trees in the forest, but trees we can't use to make paper. So we only choose 7 trees to make paper. So, but also we plant.
The name of the trees is Jonote. But we have, we can say we have about 7 different kind of trees, and each trees have different color. These trees it's a very traditional. The trees is the color is produce a paper like a very dark paper, and this paper one of the color very natural. Used to do people before the conquest because the traditional trees is only 3. The name is Jonote Colorado, Jonote Brujo, Jonote Mora. One of the very special trees used to use people before the conquest. So after to take the bark the trees, so what we're going to do, we're going to put in here with the water and wood ash and lime, and boil about 3 hours or 4 hours, depends the bark. The thing is, to cook the bark is one of the very difficult because people who have a practice to cook the bark, because to put ash and lime, one of the very completely things, because people who cook the bark, they have to know exactly how quantity ash and how quantity lime. But the paper we're going to see right now is a paper white. Paper white is have a little bleach because the natural color is a paper dark. Lots of people even the Mexican government, they think the technique lost everywhere because everybody know we have that wonderful technique before the conquest. But the government, he say we lost the technique due to the conquest. But 30 years ago, 40 years ago, somebody going to Mexico and to sell paper. So that time we trying to build the market to sell paper in Mexico and to sell paper everywhere. This kind of paper you can see everywhere, even in Europe, in the United States, in Canada, in Japan. But all these paper is made here. This is the only community keep the technique. Paper cut in Mexico, in San Pablito, one of the very traditional paper cuts in San Pablito for the people in Otomi. And he said to beginning to do that paper cut because he went to Mexico to see people Guerrero who painted also the paper amate. But the paper amate is made here from San Pablito. So the paper cut we had there about 200 years ago. So the idea he had it's to make a paper cut and to make a different design, different animal, and to put together with another paper, like to make another decoration. It's finished. Yeah. Now, so what I'm going to do? I'm going to make another paper, the same size, a different color. You can say I can make the paper white, really white paper, and then I put in top that color for to put together and to pound with the stove where we used to pound to make paper. So we sell, lots of paper, in Mexico. Also, we send about paper, mounted paper in the United States, in Europe also, and so the money is going to San Pablito, and we have the money, but so we don't have the money, for San Pablito they have to spend money for another village because they have to pay corn, they have to pay wood, the wood to boil the bought paper, they have to pay everything. So we bring the money, and also we spend a lot of money for another village. That means it's benefit the economy for many villages. Now it's finished. Now able to put the sun to dry. It's very thick, so you need too much time in the sun to dry. I trying to found the gallery and museum shop in my community in San Pablito. But I think the very important thing what I do, because that gallery and museum, it's going to be benefit with the people, children, the community, education. So I am the only person who take the group, to visit each house and to see what different thing we have, to see what different kind embroidery we have, and weaving. So what we call that, we call like a keshkemato. So people in India, we use that when it's very cold. So it's very traditional keshkemato for the village, and the technique is quite different. It's a thread. It's not a beadwork. It's a thread and embroidered by thread. And also the keshkemato, it's made by hand. The keshkemato, it's made by hand. It's a weaving. One is a very special weaving in the village. And that woman, she's the only few woman in the village to put this kind of decoration. This family are one of the very few family in the community make this kind of wonderful blouse with the beadwork. Because we don't, at the moment, we don't have many family make this kind of wonderful work. Because before 25 years ago, 30 years ago, each family in the community they can do this kind of technique. But with the time, this kind of technique for the lots of work help the people to make the different embroidery, especially for the American papers. So much people right now they prefer to make paper. Traditional embroidery, it's a thread. This is traditional. It's the technique we used to do in the community 30 years ago, 50 years ago, and 100 years ago. So the beadwork, we start to do that about 30 years ago or 40 years ago, something like that. When the people in the village in San Pablito starting to go into Mexico, so they found that the bead in Mexico City, and because for example, because the community is only count the artist people. So when they see the beadwork, so they use the beadwork to make blouse. In Mexico City, lots of people like this kind of blouse. Sometimes we have an exhibition in different places in Mexico, for example, the museum.
The nice party we organize every year. So I think it's the carnival take it for 6 days, and the people dance, and the men they wear the traditional cloth, and but we do that. I mean, probably 100 years ago, and but that one is a very traditional dance we have, and lots of people 2 weeks before or 1 month before the carnival, lots of women work, makes embroidery, makes a very fine embroidery, because the man who's going to wear the cloth, so he's going to be the best textile, the best everything, the weaving, embroider, everything's going to be the best. So lots of people who really want Carnival, they prepare it. We have 3 shaman in the village, so they come together to make it together to the altar and to make a paper cut, and then to put on the table, and then to make a dancing, to make her to give her food, to give her everything, and to decorate with the altar with lots of flowers, traditional flowers. And also we have the bad spirit, so we put another place, so we don't put that spirit together with the good spirit. And the carnival, I said we make it offering with the good spirit and bad spirit. So that means to be happy to the good spirit and to be happy also to the bad spirit, to not affect with the people, to make sick the people, I think that's all the point. I think in Carnival, because I think we dance for the bad spirit, and because the people, the group, the Carnival, the people who dance it, they say the bad word. Yeah, they say the bad word, and and that means we make offering with the bad spirit. I think if this dances, we make an offering with the bad spirit is going to be happy.
Así con las manos agarradas, bien pegado y con una mirada muy especial y con esa compañía, es una compañía,